Welcome to our gameplay content. The battle I am reviewing today took place on Italian Grassland on 18th of May 2022, pretty a while ago, but believe me, this is one of the most mind-blowing battles on my record. Even though this is a casual match, you can see the players are pretty powerful beasts. There is no clear underdog in this match. That's what makes it so amazing. The factions were balanced out. I took Denmark, Raevsky took Sweden. We played against first tier factions. Also taking into regard that neither Raevsky nor myself are not experienced on Italian grasslands, and I should remind you, this battle was held almost 2.5 years ago, so we're only on the dawn of Continuity's fame. We won that experience, and you can also see that by the builds we are having. Now let's quickly review the army build, starting with Denmark on position 1, played by myself. We have here one second best general, well yeah, this is the one, can only be one. 4 sharpshooters with 1 on the far left, 3 light dragoons, 4 line infantries, 2 grenadiers, fancy skirts here, and also 3 lifeguards of foot. In total amount of 18 units, quite a force, but could have been a better build. Opposite to him is Prussia. He's got 1 default general, 5 musketeers, 3 foot guard, 1 life regiment, 4 lancers, 4 light foot, and 1 militia. Also militia put somewhere behind the main army, kind of mirroring my build. Then let's move to the middle player, France. He's got 1 default general, 1 6 light foot regiment. I love this one, by the way. I always pick it if I play France in the attack. Such a versatile unit in all circumstances. Then 5 chasseurs cheval and up to 9 line infantries with 3 old guard in between. Total of 16 units. Let's see what our ally Prussia has to offer for him. 1 default general, 5 lancers, 1 dragoon, only 1 foot guard, 1 life regiment, and 7 musketeers. Also 4 light foot, of course. So we have 20 units, full packed army here facing France. And now let's jump over to the position 3, played by Sweden. Raevsky it is. He's got 3 star general, 2 shooting cav, 2 hussars, and 3 lifeguards of foot. Also 8 line infantries, backed up with 1 militia, of course, and even 1 skirmisher. Opposite to him does play skzapad, the old mammal Russian player who has been around since 2013, if I'm not mistaken. He is notorious for picking the UK in each and every battle. Doesn't even slightly changing his build, but I can still voice it. There are 4 light foot, 2 light dragoons, which is classic choice for the position 3 on Italy. General stuff, the default one, and 11 line infantry foots with 2 foot guards. Yes. Will be a tough number for Raevsky and me. So let's just do a small recap after the all build-ups are reviewed. We can see that Denmark locked sufficiently in numbers against Prussia. Well, actually only by 1 unit, but we can see that also by the huge amount of sharpshooters, this army is rather defensive and rather kiting than really taking a full-fledged battle against his enemy. Quite the opposite situation is on the middle flank, where the Prussian player has a vast advantage in numbers over the France. So France should want to take these woods and hold there so fast as they can, and to use the shooting cav superiority here with advancing on the hill, full blast. And the Briton just has a very versatile line infantry based build, which can employ different tactics to suck Sweden. To be honest, Sweden has a lot of cavalry, probably to help his ally to force the hill and to ensure that some backup cavalry units stay until the end of the battle. So very imbalanced builds on the different corners of the map, and I'm really eager to start this battle and see the heads rolling and the sabers flowing, because this will be one of the most amazing, dramatic and mind-blowing casual matches that you will ever witness. And before this battle starts, I want to briefly thank Talcor, our beloved coach, who also happens to be a very gifted developer, who molded a vanilla restored version of NTW, and without you notice this would be impossible for me to replay the old videos, because the old replays are broken due to the CA update of April. Yes, the game mechanics are broken, the sounds, etc., but the whole amount of unit system, they just run randomly throughout the map. Many of you know the issue, and Talcor managed to restore the original data so that the replay that you will be seeing now in particular is really 100% precise. So enjoy it. I will fast forward just a little until the first clash occurs. Now we can see that the Prussia goes all the way straight to the hill with dense formation on the Lancers, just slouching a little, but this always happens on these pass. And now the Prussian players already taking the fight here, a little nonchalantly, so he doesn't really force, but his casualties are pretty small, so he just slowly retreats, saying that his infantry units coming too close to the Lancers, so he wants to square, but actually he can't. No, he did it well. No casualties suffered at this point. And we can see that the French player already claimed the hill, not entirely, because the Prussian army is already on its way. France undertakes a suicidal attack here in the attempt to detain the Prussian efforts, but also my light dragoon is coming up there, seeking an opportunity to hit Lancers into the back so they can't hit me with their spikes. We can see he's a pretty fair fight, so one ally's unit has run, one enemy's unit has run, and this must be the enemy's units, so yeah, I guess our ally has lost entirely his Lancers on this direction. Let me just look. Yeah, they are definitely fighting my light dragoons, so these are the enemy's Lancers on their way. So you could just see that how our ally lost his entire color of cavalry's nation on this little hugely fight in the early stage of the battle. Now we can see the heavy counterattack of France on the Prussian general. There is barely any cavalry support here, but Raevsky spotted this on time, and look at this terrific volley he is giving to the French cav. They do not run. He doesn't want to risk his cavalry to go melee, because Prussia has obviously enough here, but only one backup Lancer, one dragoon. Dragoons are fine at deflecting this. My light dragoons are trying to detain two Lancers, which is a really no cinch in these circumstances, with Prussian light foot and infantry taking their time to say it in not a rough manner, to claim the hill. Now they finally did it. Denmark brought some grenadiers over the hill. The Sweden has the light shooting calf in the middle just to claim the ridge. Also we can see that the lancers of Prussia are here, so probably some of them have survived. Yes, those are the allies lancers. Now we can see that my rifles are shooting the Prussian foot guard. He just noticed that 106 men, they suffered severe casualties here, well 14 men for foot guards. This is actually not that much, but still the grenadiers of mine making square just in time and letting the Prussian fusiliers to retreat in tranquility. Two Prussian lancers, one of them could retreat. Grenadiers in full in numbers, just advancing and trying to flank France. Now you can see that Britain already took the forest, took the main hill. This is a really scrappy position for Raevsky. He cannot seize on the opportunity and to hit the Britain while he is focusing the Prussia in the forest, just because the Lightfoot can actually control everything, each and every plot of this area. Staying here, but Britain actually miscontrolling here because they're hitting the dirt, so it's a little bit of advantage for Raevsky, even though he can't really help his teammate who is being outflanked by Britain. This is an unlucky position for him. Now we can see that in the middle there are very half-hearted efforts from Prussia to retake it, but you can see that he's made his mind to attack on my main direction. You can see how smartly I've placed the sharpshooters here, shooting down the foot guards with a few volleys. Of course, the sharpshooters here, even though slightly protected by the stakes, don't stand a chance to resist the fire from foot guards, even though they waste a lot of ammo here. He hasn't noticed my hidden light dragoon so far, and of course, sooner or later I will use them against the Prussian fusiliers who stay idle so far, waiting something. I mean, waiting till our cavalry is out. Now he's gonna detect this movement. Yes, he will. He's moving his units in a hurry and probably will move out the lancers to me. We can see that few remaining lancers of enemies Prussia just forcing our Prussian to regroup his units. Now my grenadiers mess up the square here. I noticed that in last moment, but they don't panic. They just go melee in the effort trying to hold the musketeers' movements, and yes, they successfully held them up. Unfortunately, Prussia doesn't really focus him. His fire is a little bit messy here, all over the area, even shooting the units which are very far behind. Denmark trying to consolidate the defense, having huge gaps for sharpshooters. There's nothing to really worry about since there's no available cavalry on Prussian side. And look like how Denmark attacked the Prussian general, totally knocked him down to the ground and doesn't let him to go away. Will it be a shot? It's the light dragoons, far better unit than hussars. They can hold longer. They are better in melee, they are better in cavalry fights essentially. There are only 6 men, and yes, they do. The king dies, the Prussian's opponent of Denmark, his general is out, and there is a turning point for myself, for Denmark in winning this fight, or at least to go undecisive about it. There is also a militia on its way, learning how to deal a blow. And the lancers, the last cavalry units from Prussia, who's gonna be sought, but no, in the last moment the foot guards one time and they saved the lancers out of the immediate hazard. And yes, essentially there are my light dragons that ran. Now we can see that Swedes actually taking a lot of bullets from the Lightfoots, also giving a few bullets to the Lightfoots. skzapad probably didn't saw this moment clearly enough, but he maybe he's got frustrated by that, keeps going forward, and Raevsky doing just the same, but of course the Lightfoot is reloading faster, so Raevsky will have to stay in some moments. Now we can see that actually the fight for the hill takes another turn, takes a different twist. Our Prussian ally gets hit by 4 Lightfoot at the same time, and this is actually my ally, so Denmark is definitely underplays this situation. Totally phoned it in on this part, having the cavalry stretch over all the map, having the cavalry scattered all over the map and seeking an opportunity to hit, but don't actually covering the Prussia, even though we can also see that France doesn't participate too actively in the battle either. He just moves out with his 6th Regiment Lightfoot, and Swiss foot having the old guards probably somewhere hidden, maybe here, maybe up there. Prussia decisively splitted his troops into the ones on the hill and the ones remaining on the terrain. The foot guards slowly but surely taking the casualties here. Another brave Lancers attack. I think this must be the last Lancer of our ally. Very solid attack here, piercing through the Prussian Fusiliers and almost killing the Musketeers, at least causing their red morale. There are 85 men, maybe they will even run. This would be such a nice maneuver if they will, and they probably, yes, 76 men, really nicely done by Prussia, even though his left flank completely crumbled. That was a sign for Denmark, okay man, now you should act. Now you should send more troops to the hill. You have to recapture it, by whatever price it takes you. The interesting move from Raevsky, he's shooting the British square foot guards. Of course, it's a very nice trade here on his part. With my rifles shooting the square too, and the grenadiers and militia on the further far part of the battle. Prussian Lightfoots mercilessly shooting the rest of the enemy's Lightfoot here, and the last standing Lancer is gonna die any moment now. But you see, again, Ducasse's risky move with the general. Dutch actually breaks his defense at this point. Now let's see what we can do next. And Ducasse is facing to another enemy. And this actually helps to detain his attack and to win time until our Prussian ally comes here. And here's my light dragoons, which coming out of the ambush, replacing the general, because this is not actually general's duty to fight one another, as Mr. Wellington would say. And now actually the fortune is smiling upon us, because the Prussia has barely any troops here. France has obviously saving his units until some crucial moments to not interacting a lot. We've slowly recapturing the woods, and Raevsky even undertakes some counterattacks, even though it's of course not so easy to do, but 2 lifeguards of foot going melee all the way. This is a really suspenseful thing to see. The light dragoons who are trying to hold them up has no chance to do this because Raevsky smartly inspiring one unit by one. This is the Sweet King's lifeguards who stay until the end without any intention to run off the ground. Now we have the light dragoons here, 27 men who actually took the hill. You can see that the Danish general is also there. Maybe he'll be hunted down by this was really the last cavalry units from Prussia side. My light dragoons trying to not let the Prussia lost backup units to climb up the hill. We have, so to speak, 2 cavalry units here if we can count general, but general taking here some casualties. In fact, well, now Denmark will start to push this force really hard to gain an advantage on it and to try to circumvent Prussia. And now you can see the light dragoons first attack went pretty sloppy, but light dragoons do not risk this entirely. They retreat and give a perfect volley to Prussian Fusiliers, letting them shoot down the foot guards who will be out of square just now. The lifeguards of foot taking a lot of bullets here, of course, facing foot guards and 8th Regiment. This is quite a big deal and not an easy task at all. We'll see how long can they prevail here. The sharpshooters doing absolutely good, nice job shooting the foot guards. I think all the casualties this square has had so far came out of this sharpshooters fire. And general going all the way to musketeers. Why not light dragoons? Where are they? Are they already fled? Ah no, they are here. They actually still alive, but general just thought, I can't let behind my troops. If they fight, I shall fight too. I can't just stay passively there and do anything about it. I am their general and I want to show that I deserve to lead them. Now you can see that Prussia already spotted my light dragoons. Fortunately, there is no damage here at all due to the woods, so I have to retreat as far as I can. And here we can see the ultimate advantage on Denmark's side. A lot of infantry units that were not employed so far can now attack since the hill is broken. So now the whole sheer power of Danish infantry, Danish force will run over Prussia. Now the main occurrences of the fight turn to the middle force. We can see that France employs gradually more and more units in this forest. Prussian Lightfoot shooting down the upcoming British. There is a light dragoons cavalry. They will probably attack the Lightfoot up in front and the sharpshooters just behind them. In general, this is a very vulnerable position. Good spot for the UK. Noticing this little crack in our defense. There is also a musketeer that has retreated. So far he's not back. Raevsky undertaking another valiant attack on Lightfoot, killing them completely. Denmark so far just chasing Prussia This is our Prussian player, I remind you. Here the sharpshooters trying to deflect the British light dragoons, but they are too superior and they are supported by foot guards units. The Prussia will lose his general, not really giving them pressure because the sharpshooters are obviously not reloaded. You're gonna make it slow, and now you can see the counterattack worked out for the UK, and the Prussian general has perished at the British sword. There is no chance he will recover, and there is no chance he will recover. And actually, following the general's death, just the whole square amount of Prussian units just ran, just fully shattered, leaving the battlefield. Of course, mailing the old guard is not a great idea. And only one unit of musketeers has survived so far. So let me just recap the battle so far. Denmark has cavalry scattered all over the map, here and one here, both we can say in ambush. The Prussian player who has been successfully attacking and recapturing the hill one by one was eventually just squashed in the middle forest by the collective efforts from the Great Britain and France. Especially the cavalry attack was very successful here. Raevsky was a little bit slow with his shooting cav, for example, to come in and support him on time. As far as I know, they walk idly. And yes, this is the lost approach of Prussia in the attempt to just show presence in this battlefield, say, hey guys, I'm not left yet, and just see bad micromanagement on Denmark's part here. One light infantry confronting 3 Prussians, one light infantry shooting the Swiss foot. So this is gonna be a Mexican standoff here on the main hill, 1 unit versus 1. Will it be the melee fight or will it be something different? The Swiss foot should be lacking the ammo by that point, because they was firing really long there. And what's general will be do? Will he just stay there and trying to support to rally his units from behind, or will it take action? Yes, it will. This is the real warrior. The spirit of Odin has overtaken him, so he's just messing into this fight and making Swiss foot run. Now I can see that Raevsky shooting cowboys finally arrived, even after the last standing Prussian unit of our ally has run. Now I can see that Swiss foot was shattered, but there is no way out for line infantry, of course. The French one, he will massacre them. And now I can see the counterattack on Swedish part. Raevsky doing very well here, shooting cav, trying to engage in fights with foot guards and foot, and the another shooting cav. After he couldn't square here because of lack of units, he just hits from behind and shatters their morale to pieces. Having their general exposed is a pretty risky maneuver here in Lightfoot. With no backup units here, 3 units, actually 2 of them are foot guards, are facing 1 skirmisher, the base amount of whose just shoot the grounds. Now Britain has understood that he's in quite a pickle here, because Raevsky won't just pull out the strings. Won't just pull out the strings, he will push even harder and harder. Now you can see at this moment all the cards are stashed against us, against the Scandinavian faction. Our ally is beaten. We are 2 players versus 3, because Denmark was not just in the position to catch Prussia. They have fresh units, most of them, and his foot guard and 8th Regiment already suffering huge casualties from the sharpshooters who suffer no losses at all so far. But the crucial moment was that France actually relocated the so far hidden old guard units from this forest up to here, and now he is threatening the whole right wing of my army. And this is actually the whole of my army, because there's not so much more here. There are just sharpshooters, one almost full life guards of foot, but these guys are pretty low, and of course there's no chance for them that they can stand the pressure. Also, the musketeers can play easy meat role here to kind of deflect me, outmaneuver, or just to collect the bullets on my part, and then making the shooting cav, the old guards, do the rest of the job. You can see the shooting cav doing nice job here, facing the old guard from behind. Well, you can face them from behind, but creeping up from behind and depleting the old guard. This will be -1 old guard units on French part. Also killing 3 another old guardsman. The Frenchman wants probably excuse me for that. Well, the cruelty of the battle will intensify now. You can see that Raevsky will try to kind of bump into the square, but it was too late already. There are no losses here. My right wing is already shattered. I'm trying to run my ass off the old guard and the rest of the Prussia. They are not really dangerous right now. My light dragoons are still alive. They managed to kill the elite infantry of Prussia here. So actually there is no way for Prussia actually here. Bad micromanagement. They will obviously run, and now there are only 2 old guards, fully fresh, fully armed, with 1 Polish legion here. And there's actually now only the matter of time when the French can get me. So actually what I want to do here is to move a lot of my troops with this far around detour all the way to the back of the hill of Britain, and to assist Raevsky, since he still has his troops and he has the space, the area where he can hide and stay in fresh numbers, to hit Britain from behind and then to press him from both sides. So now let's see how can it work here. Raevsky has also big casualties on general's part, so he doesn't want to go front line with him. Another attack on the shooting cavs part is pretty cool here. So there will be the Formula 1 race here probably. I hope the Denmark's team is gonna be a little faster here, because France, I remind you, was absolutely fresh from the moment they started this chase, and my guys, they already ran all the way from the position 1 to the position 1 offensive side, and then to the even cross the middle players part, so their boots must be a toast by now. Now you can see that Raevsky actually very successfully defending against the British attack here, going the entire melee. The life guard foot can hold pretty long here, and then the line infantry will get a deadly bullet to line infantry. Sadly, they were just red a second ago, but they withstood the pressure also from the life guards of foot. Now all of them run, and now another plot twist. Now the Britain obviously winning this, only in case the Swedish general can make a difference, but he certainly cannot. And will he die? Will he? And now you can see, wow, the Swedish general is dead. He's dead right now. So there's only one general on in our union who is still alive. This is Denmark's, this is mine, and he's running at this moment right into the trap of French general who is completely full in numbers, who is a default one, and there is nothing to lose there. Yes, if he knocks out my general, the game is basically over, and even if he does lose his general, he still has 3 old guard units, so there is nothing to worry about. But at the same time, maybe I'm miscontrolling this, the light dragoons attacking the British general. What's happening out there? And on the other side, the light dragoons staying here. Oh, a little mismanaged, a little bit delayed of attack, but they did attack and kill a few British men in numbers. Well, this light dragoons attack failed. Obviously, the British general took some casualties, but not so far. And just look, my general has only 4 men in numbers, and they do not die. If 1 man will fall dead, this is the game over for Denmark. There are only 4 of them. And the French general, who was obviously a little bit stuck in these woods, not knowing what he exactly wanted to do, he actually just wanted to pull through to his French army troops. So this was a miscommunication, that part. And look what my rifles doing meantime. They killing the British general. Wow, only 1 of his general officer staff has come alive of this massacre to report to the Royal Academy, say sorry, we screwed up big time. And now you can see this is the final stage of the battle. We can also see there are a few units stuck up here. There's a shooting calf of Raevsky's who came back to the battle, and believe me, they will play a crucial role toward the end of the battle. And there is our Prussian ally whose general is already dead. Oh, just look at here what Raevsky is pulling on the far edge. You can barely ever see dismounted cavalryman in this game. He lets his brave dismounted rifles rest for the final attack, obviously, whereupon the battle's outcome shall be decided. You can see that I'm trying to actually to defend against British player and to not let the France coming too close, so the rifles will be actually the one who should get all the bullets, the red herring so to speak, while the lifeguards of foot should shoot down the British foot. Very nice maneuver from British. He's hiding his units in the forest and forcing me to stuck here. Very nice move on the British part. And actually from this point on there is no chance to win from us, even though my light guards of foot finally start shooting after this very long reload, and causing the British foot line retreat. Now will he use them? No, he still doesn't. We can a little fast forward here. We have rifles, we have light infantry, light guards of foot, 2 light guards of foot on my part, and the second best general. My suspicion is that one of them has no ammo at all. The one who's probably fought a considerable amount of battle, so the one with 70 men in a row. Maybe I'm mistaken here. Oh, you can see that the Prussian general actually giving his best to support his team, but this is a weird positioning, I must say. British player obviously noticed that. He will try to snipe his general. Yes, he will. Now the French, after a little break, he goes all the way up to the hill. There is old guard. They have nothing to fear about. There is just 1 line infantry who probably doesn't even have ammo, and 1 very tight skirmisher unit whose reload time takes like 15 or 20 seconds of time. Now you can see the Prussian general only have 5 men in numbers. they get a few volleys from the very accurate British infantry line, but they do not move, they do not leave the ground. This is hilarious, this is incredible. Now you can see Raevsky's shooting calf is finally here. I think he just wants to spare them until the end of the battle, because there are obviously a lot of maneuver for them to expect. But so far the most troops, except for the British line foot, can easily make a square and deflect each cavalry's attack possible. Now you can see the half time of the match is now over, and my life guards of foot, now rested a little, can do a short counter charge. At least Polish Legion, very tired one, is a good target here. Look what Prussian general is doing, just suiciding over the old guard square, which by no means has boosted our morale here, and neither gained any advantage. Well, anyway, the shooting calf, well, maybe sent a fatal volley to the old guard. Yes, they will. Well, this was not fatal at all. Just a few of them have found their target. Now you can see what happens next. The Polish Legion doing sort of a duel with my foot guards, shooting mostly the ground, but I mean they don't have to care about it, because the old guard is the one who will determine the outcome of this battle. The Polish Legion is just the one who tries to play the role of a bait. I need to point out how smartly line infantry just protects his flank from attack of old guard, which is active, and certainly can shut down line infantry by one approach. And you can see that life guards of foot of mine who have no melee, even though they had such a spot on position, they had to go melee to the old guard, which is outnumbering them by 1/3, and with only general trying to rout for his loyal, as you can see, for his loyal guards who defend the palace by day and night. And now the fate of this battle depends upon them. And you can see the shooting calf. What Raevsky is doing now, he's pulling through the ranks, he's routing the British infantry lines to pieces. There are 45 and 22 men. Just a second ago they were 60 and 17. Look what my general is doing. What a knucklehead. He's just going all the way through the ranks and completing the routing of British. Yes, even the Polish Legion hasn't stood the pressure, and the old guard fully made fool of himself, trying to catch my life guards of foot, who has now have time to actually support his fellow guards foot regiment to sock the old guard units. They're 53, so they're still outnumbering, but this was a great charge of mounted shooting calf pulled out by Sweden, so that old guard units runs in no time. And there is another twist now, so the outcome of this battle has turned again, but this is not over. The battle shifts towards its final stage. France has lost a unit in his army, who will be facing 2 lifeguards of foot with no ammo at all, but with a brave general who pulled through the whole battle, still alive. We can't say he's untouched, but he's full of power, full of will, full of faith in his brave legions, and of course he won't let his men down. So you can see France giving a final effort on approaching on full blast, and he doesn't want to take risk and shoot through the woods. Probably he doesn't have enough ammunition for that, so he wants to come as close as possible to give Denmark a final fatal volley. But you can see here a little micromanagement mistake that Denmark tried to catch off his formation of guard, and this is pretty unlucky formation. You see how the all guards actually panics. They were not prepared to shoot, even though they could. But eventually the turn of events told otherwise. If you don't smile to the death, it doesn't mean the death won't smile back at you. So you can see that two guards are now in pretty equal circumstances. Of course, this lifeguard foot does have unlucky angle. So here we go again. General suddenly shows up, risking all the stakes of the battle, one unlucky bullet, and he'll be out of the game. But Denmark eventually scrapped out victory over France in this insane massacre. I can't keep my emotions in check. This is just so insane. Literally all cards were stacked against us, but the Scandinavian unit, led by Raevsky and Ducasse, fueled by Odin's rage, eventually came out victorious. They absolutely phoned it in the beginning, doing multiple micro information mistakes, overdue team calls, but their willness, despite all the difficulties, eventually led to victory. For without victory, according to Winston Churchill, there is no survival. Very, very dramatic, intense twist throughout the battle. A lot of mistakes on both sides, but obviously this is a lot of luck and a lot of will to actually determine the result you want, even though you're in a clear disadvantage what concerns factions, it concerns the builds, it concerns obviously the situation with the ally, that me and Raevsky were apparently splitted by the landscape. I have to run much more than France had. France had far superior units than I had, and still. Now look at the hero of this battle, the Ernst Peimann, the second best general in Denmark's ranks. He killed more than he lost, obviously, but this is not about numbers. As you can see here, the Denmark determined the battle outcome with the crucial cavalry effort from Raevsky. He has less kills than British, even though his cavalry at the end killed 3 lines at one time. Now maybe you've seen that discrepancy between kill-death ratio and actual contribution to the victory. There is such a bulletproof argument against the supreme role of in-game stats. Denmark and Sweden, Raevsky and me, victorious we are, pull this out largely due to our team play and huge willingness to get the upper hand. So I hope you are as fascinated with this battle and its outcome as I am. In case your jaws did drop, Continuity won't be covering medical expenses, just putting out there, but we're still flattered if they still did. Thanks again for watching. Ducasse was streaming this match for you, and get a tons of like to this video. Stay tuned with Continuity.